My life is changing. I'm quite aware that I'm in a point of transition in my life. And I think for a lot of people, you can resonate with this, going from kind of school to university or to an apprenticeship or the working world. There are times in our life where change happens, and it can bring about excitement, but also discomfort as well. So I thought in this video I'd share with you what's going on in my life. It'll be a bit of an update, where I'm at and what I'm going through, how I'm navigating that. And hopefully if it's something that resonates with you and is useful to you, then you should stick around, because this video is going to be about adapting to change. And of course, some of that is going to be aided, I guess, or different, given I don't drink alcohol. And I'm going to talk about the ways that being alcohol-free is actually quite beneficial when you're going through a period of transition. If you're new here, my name is Dr. Alex George. This is a channel around alcohol-free living and navigating life without the booze. I'm 2.5 years alcohol-free, and I'm here to support you on your journey. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So a little bit of background as to what's going on. So I've kind of realised over the last, I'd say 6 months to a year, that my life is hitting that transitional point again. Something is shifting, and I'm sure, you know, for those of you that are watching this, well, you are watching it. For those watching it, you will also, I'm sure, agree that sometimes we just become aware of a natural shift. And it's odd. It's kind of like a sense of, oh, things are no longer the same as they were. And this might be something internal or external. Take, for example, at school, you come to the end of GCSEs, and there's this like realization of like, oh, this section of my life is done now. People are going to go off to do apprenticeship. Some people will stay and go to sixth form here at the school. Other people will leave. And you feel that shift. There's an even bigger shift that happens when you go from school to university or the working world. It's a big change. And I noticed when I look back on my life, there was a big change then. There's a massive change when I finished studying at medical school. So I was at Exeter in Plymouth. So it was called Peninsula Medical School at the time. And I finished in Exeter to move to London. And that was obviously a massive shift. At that time, there was an end of a relationship as well. I was newly single, I was moving to London. I moved into basically hospital accommodation at King's College Hospital, which was interesting for a few months. And my God, that was a huge change. That was a big change, like landing in a big city. You don't know anyone. I literally didn't know anyone here at all at that point. My friends did actually then move up here later. Some of them were doing their first year of doctors elsewhere and then moved to London. Some other friends that I actually ended up living with later on in the year came up 4 or 5 months later. So things worked out in that sense, but there's a big shift and change where I moved to this place and basically didn't know anyone. Then I fast forward from there and have the next big change, which is me going on Love Island and becoming famous, and therefore I guess being an influencer. And the big change there, I guess, was trying to learn how to survive, live, thrive in the public eye. And what does that mean? You know, I came off that show, went back to A&E, largely because I felt that grounded me. I think, not from a sense of like, I think I was like, oh my God, like I'm amazing, all this stuff like that. I think more in the sense of like I was spiraling and I needed genuine grounding to feel a sense of belonging, purpose, knowing who I am, or probably more accurately, reminding myself who I am. So that was a big old change. And then of course, one that we all went through was the pandemic. Clearly, massive change. And I think, I don't know about you guys, but post-pandemic, that was a really strange time, I guess, of change. Loads of my friends left London, people changed careers, we all aged. I think we kind of forget how long that protracted period of the pandemic was. Like, I was like 29, I think, when it started, and I was like 31 when it ended. And like that period of my life is a big transitional point. That was a very strange time. And of course, for me, at that time, I lost my brother. And the next transition happened where I went from being media medic with A&E to, right, I want to work on this mental health stuff and make a change. And then I've spent the last 4 years being an ambassador for mental health. That role obviously ended a few months ago. But during that time, that was my real focus, and I was building that. I was working on my books that I published. It was the children books, A Better Day, the Mind Manual, and so on, as well as building the podcast, the Stompcast, and my social pages. So all of that stuff was kind of going on. then over the last year, I think in the last year, I've probably been aware of the fact that another step or change is happening. And this is happening on a few levels. Number one, I think I probably am becoming aware that the life that I'm living in London isn't going to be forever. I live in this big city. It's an amazing place, but it's also crazy. And I think as my life has changed and I've gone from drinking alcohol and probably doing a lot of the social side of late nights and things like that in London, and I've gone from that to sobriety, which is clearly a big change, a personal change, that has made me look at how I want to live my life and the ways that has made me look at how I live my life and the ways that I want to live and what I want to do. For example, I'm drawn so much more to nature now. I want to be outdoors. I want to be on my motorbike. I want to be exercising and things. And I guess that has brought about a personal shift, and it has made me question, how long will I stay here for? Do I think I will be permanently here in London, or am I going to go elsewhere? And I've already started splitting my time between here and the South Coast to kind of test this theory, I guess, to see whether I want to begin that move away or whether hybrid living is the way forward. I don't know. I'm just trying to work it out at the moment. So that's a bit of a personal thing that's happening. But in terms of work and in terms of what I think I want to do with my time and my energy moving forward, that's changing as well. So you've had this big period of time where I've been burning the soul candle, as I like to say, or spending soul energy on the mental health campaigning. That has taken, like, I cannot tell you the level, the amount of I cannot tell you the amount of like soul energy that went into work in the pandemic. I think it's probably obvious, along with a lot of other people that are doing it. But then also the last 4 years campaigning and fighting uphill really to try and do something positive in this space. And clearly, there's things that have been the success, the 80, 90 million that went towards mental health support teams, now seeing those rolled out, or the government promising to roll them out nationally, creating the Early Support Hubs initiative, or the campaigning at schools, or the education awareness stuff. There's clearly things that I'm really proud of. There's clearly things that I'm really proud of, but that time took a lot of energy, took a lot out of me. And as that door's closed, or that chapter's closed, a new one opens, and I guess it posed that question of like, what do I want to do with my life? I'm 34 years old now. I'll be 35 in February. Time whistles on. I cannot believe, honestly, that I'm 34. It feels like yesterday that I was 29 and turning 30. Time passes quickly, and I do believe that time goes faster as you get older. Clearly not in terms of chronological time, but the time up here. And there's lots of theories around that, but effectively, the longer you've been alive, the smaller the proportion a year is of your entire life. If you're 2 years old, another year is, half of your life added on again, right? Whereas now, a year is, 1/34 of my entire life at the moment, and that only becomes more diluted. So I think time passes much more quickly. And there's this question of like, what do I want to do with this time now? What are my priorities? And I guess from a little bit of what I've said earlier on, I really want to spend more of my life kind of enjoying time. There is some sense that I kind of put so much into my work from the age of like 22, like when I went to med school at 23, all the way through to 33, 34. So a decade of real grafting, and lots of that's been in the hospital, but then also all the work that I've done outside of that, and running a business, running a team, creating projects such as a podcast, all the other things I've been doing. It requires a huge amount of energy and time, and it's not something that's 9 to 5. It takes massive amounts of energy, and there's a lot of sacrifice, and there's been a lot of sacrifice in my personal life because of these focuses. And I guess then, therefore, moving forward, I want my personal life to have much more priority than it has in the past, because life is very short, and you don't know, no time is promised. You don't know what tomorrow brings. And what I don't want to look back is and go, oh gosh, I wish I'd spent a bit more of my life enjoying and having fun and living, not just focusing on the work side. So the first thing I think that's changing is there's my shift towards making sure my life has genuine priority, shifting towards focusing on my relationships and the people around me. That is a big, big shift for me. A conscious decision, if you like, to put that at the forefront. The second change, I guess, is happening is that on the career front. Now that I'm not doing the ambassadorship work, and people might say, well, what does that mean? Are you not doing any more mental health work? No. I think I'm having a bit of a break from the political activism side for at least a few years, I think. I've probably done enough political activism for a lifetime, if I'm honest, but at least for a few years, and more focusing on what I truly enjoy. So I did the campaigning stuff because it was needed, not because I enjoy it that much. Does that make sense? Like, I felt that there was something important to do. It doesn't mean it makes me excited or happy or I love it, or any sense of that. People say to me, would you be an MP or a politician? Absolutely not. It is not for me in any way, shape or form. I did that out of necessity, not out of like genuine love for politics. It's not something that I want to be doing in the future. What I love is, broadly speaking, helping people. You know, I do genuinely enjoy working with people, helping with people if I can. There's just a sense of me, I guess I became a doctor, like it's kind of, I guess, obvious that I have that sense of like, I'd like to do something genuinely useful. It doesn't have to be like save the world different, but I kind of like the idea of adding value or helping other people in some way or doing something useful. Then the other part of it is that I love creativity. I love creating things. I love running things. I like making a business or writing a book or creating a podcast or making content. I enjoy the essence of being creative, probably very much related to ADHD, but also my personality type. I like to make stuff, not necessarily building things. I'm not very good at building things, but I like to make concepts and ideas and things come to life. So moving forward, what I would like to do is combine those two things. Now, of course, I will continue to do this, and my podcast, the Stompcast, I absolutely love, and my plan is to continue doing that. But what I want to do is take the energy that was massive amount of energy that was going into the ambassador work and put it into a new project. I'd like to build something new and exciting, and that's what I'm doing. And you know, I'm not at a stage of sharing. I'm not being annoying, but like, oh God, I got a secret, guys. But I'm not at the stage yet to share what I'm working on. I'm going to in quite the near future, and I think it's something that'll be particularly interesting to you guys on this channel. It's something exciting, and it gives me a sense of like the next episode, the next step in my life. You know, so I want to move in that direction, but I want to move in that direction consciously with prioritizing health and my relationships, building something that I enjoy, and having fun in my life. Now, I said at the start of the video, I said at the start of the video that I'm going to bring, why sobriety helps with this into this video. Not to segue it into like, let's shoehorn some alcohol-free living in, but genuinely because it does make a difference, is that I believe at times where change has been happening around me, because change is inevitable, you can try and sit still as much as you can. You can kind of hold on to everything around you as much as you can, but it's going to change. And all that holding on to things does is bring about suffering. When you finish school, you might absolutely love the fun you had in the sixth form lounge and talking to people, having the fun, and wish you could be surrounded with your school friends all the time. And you could try and hold on to that, but it's pointless because it's going to change. Your school friends are going to go to university. You won't be seeing them all the time. They might start work. They might start having family. Look at now, like loads of my friends are having kids or they're moving out of London. I can try and hold on to what that used to be, being an early 20s guy with his friends running around London having fun. I can try and hold on to that if I want, but it's changing. And by holding on to it, it brings about suffering and discomfort and a feeling of like being lost. So what does the alcohol do here? Well, I think alcohol stops you, realising that change is happening. It encourages you to bury your head in the sand. Again, I've said this before on the channel, alcohol stops you from looking here to the future, either here in the future or being present, and instead puts you in this kind of just in front of your nose moment of like the next moment of being hungover, getting better, and then I feel a bit better now, let's have a drink, and what's this weekend? You're not as able to kind of future plan or be present. And so it stops you from planning for the future and thinking what's happening, what direction I want to go, but also stops you realising what's happening in the now. And I think what also happens with regards to change is that alcohol prevents you feeling your intuition. It stops you from feeling your sense of, maybe it's the time that I do this. Maybe it's time that I move to a new place. Maybe it's time that I look at the way that I'm living or question what it is that I want to do with my life. I think it really muddies all of that. It suppresses it and it hides it, and it puts you in a position almost where change happens and you're kind of stuck in the in-between. You're neither there or here. when you have sobriety, and I think this is probably an easier way to explain it, I've been able to sit with clarity, with a clear head, and be able to kind of look around me and go, like I'm 34 now, things aren't changing, my friends are moving to different places. Maybe I have spent a lot of my life energy on certain projects. Maybe it's time that I start living a bit more and thinking about what I want. There's that intuition and sense of like, I can see things changing. This is maybe the direction I want to go. And also being sober, it gives you the energy. Like I have the energy to move actively in the direction, to make decisions. And I said this in an Instagram post that I kind of referenced this kind of topic a few days ago, that it's kind of like being able to take the steering wheel. Like the car's moving, it's in second gear, we've taken off, we're driving off. Do you just let go of the steering wheel and let the car go off in any direction, or are you going to take the steering wheel and direct it? You've got to keep going forward. The corners are coming, but do you want to take those corners and direct the steering wheel and glide round them and make this into a good ride, or do you want to allow the car to be bouncing over the corners and the chicanes and it all being a bit of a wild, who knows what's going to happen ride? So that's kind of how I feel with this topic of change. I wonder, if you're watching this, are you in a period of change yourself? What are you experiencing? I actually had a message from someone. I've had lots of messages on this topic. Perhaps I'll read out one that I've read. Just on change, I'm leaving the city for a quieter life down the country by the sea. It's a massive step for me and I'm a bit scared, but it feels right. Who'll probably never read this, but always wish for you or anyone that you find the peace you deserve. I think saying like for anyone that kind of has that experience of change, it's scary sometimes. Change can bring about this feeling of unease. There is a psychological safety from the comfort of the known. The unknown is always scary, even if it's better for us. And that's something we have to accept psychologically as well. It may well be scary to move from the city to the seaside, even though you know that's going to be a better life for you, even though you know that in the long run you're going to be grateful for that, because the brain says, oh, this is your circle, stay in your safe space, this is your circle, don't step outside. So I think, again, being alcohol-free allows you to see that, acknowledge the kind of discomfort, being like, oh my God, I'm scared to do this, and be able to do it anyway. So what I would say to anyone, watching this, let me know in the comments what change you're experiencing. Have you had a big change in your life recently? How did you manage that and get through that? But also, if you're going through change, just be really aware of like what's happening. What is it in my life that's changing? It's an obvious question. What is it that is not standing still? Kind of the answer is everything. But what is it particularly that's bringing you to think that there's change at the moment? And secondly, then, what is it what I want? What do I want right now broadly? Like, do I want peace? Do I want excitement? Do I want to be here? Do I want to be there? What do you want in your life? And then thirdly, how do I take charge of the steering wheel? The car has started, second gear. How do I take charge of this now? What do I do to take control of this change and have some autonomy and choice into the direction that we're going? And then just being aware that there are and is going to be an element of nervousness or fear, discomfort or anxiety that comes around change, because your brain is doing the psychological thing of protect itself. So I guess, for me, in summary, I'm aware that I'm in this transitional point, the kind of like university to med school to fame, thing. Like this, we're just having these transitions at the moment, and I'm excited for it, to be honest. I'll bring you guys on that journey. Obviously on this channel we're doing lots of videos around alcohol-free living and advice, but also I'm going to kind of bring you along with this stuff as well, so you can see that change, but also hopefully I can give you that lens of how sobriety is helping me in this stage of my life, that it's being my friend rather than alcohol working against me. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's been a useful one. It's been a bit of a rambly one, I guess, where I kind of just shared my thoughts. Let me know, do you like this style video, or do you prefer me to be more on the nose like some of the other ones? See you all in the next one. Please drop a like if you haven't already, and do subscribe if you want more of this content. Take care and goodbye.